Hi, this is Drew Dinsick of NBC Sports Edge here with Kenny Ducey, and we are at the business end of the championships at the All England Tennis and Croquet Club in London. This is, of course, is the end of the fortnight at Wimbledon, and we are down to the semifinals on the men's and the women's side. The women go off this Thursday, men on Friday. Kenny, let's talk about the women's matches first. On the card is the breakout superstar of this tournament, at least for my money. And that's Ons Jabeur. She's taking on Tatiana Maria, who has been a tremendous story in her own right. Finally getting through deep into a slam on what feels like her 40th try. But this is looking like a lopsided match by the way that the bookmakers have lined it. Ons Jabeur right now about minus 770 as far as her favorite status here. I make her minus 1,000, so I don't disagree. Do you have a read one way or the other whether Jabeur punches her ticket to her first ever slam final?
Yeah, literally for your money, Mr. Jabeur ticket holder. And I also will say this is a scenario where this is a big – we'll talk about a lot of big favorites. This is a big favorite that deserves to be a big favorite, Ons Jabeur. So I think that, yeah, I think she probably wins this match in 2 sets. I have a little bit of interest in taking Tatiana Maria plus 5.5 games considering the struggles that Jabeur had with Maria Buskova, and I think also Maria with the wide backhand could pose some issues early for Jabeur, although I expect her to ultimately come through, solve those problems. But yes, in terms of the big favorites here, I think out of the 4 matches, I think that Ons Jabeur absolutely should be the biggest favorite on the card. What say you?
Yep, I agree with you. Well, yeah, we'll get to another one that co-favorites, but of the 2 women's matches, I do think this one is the most lopsided. Ons Jabeur, of course, has raised her level to to her challengers both the last 2 times out. Elise Mertens gave her a fight. She raised her level, and of course, Buskova, as you mentioned, she was playing great tennis, particularly in that first set. Ons Jabeur forced to really step up her game, and we saw her respond in kind. And I think she's going to be all over Maria's serve. And really, I think it's only going to take a couple of holds for her to get through cleanly 2-0, 2-0. And Kenny, if you are looking for a games handicap there, I think you can be patient. I think you may get a +6. I think this is trending towards +6 at least as a flat games handicap here. The other one I cannot get close to in terms of price here for the favorite, and that is Miss Simona Halep. She, of course, is a former Wimbledon champion here, former 2-time Grand Slam champion, having won the French Open the year prior to winning Wimbledon, and she takes on the up-and-comer in Elena Rybakina, depending on how you like to pronounce that. And honestly, this feels like a very even match. If it weren't for the Grand Slam pedigree of Halep, I don't know that I could get to this price, but I think you feel that this is a match that Halep should win pretty cleanly. What is the case for Simona?
Yeah, I think that you're a little scared because you faded Elena Rybakina a couple times in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken, and she has come through victorious because obviously she's here in the semifinals. Yeah, look, I'm very impressed with Simona Halep. I think she's playing better tennis than anyone in the women's draw, and she has been for the last 3 rounds. Obviously, her court coverage is insane. She makes no mistakes, while Rybakina does have the very flat backhand. She loves to hit down the line. That's how she creates a lot of her offense. I think that there are just no issues on the forehand side for Simona Halep. I just think she's not going to be able to impact the match the same way she has over the last few matches. Rybakina with that big backhand. Obviously, she has big serve, so playing the game spread here, not like my favorite move. We could get some very tight sets. We could get a tie break in here, considering how big she does serve. I know obviously Halep is an incredible returner. We talked pretty much all year, right, about how dominant Iga Swiatek is. Simona Halep, on the grass anyway, just for these last few weeks, is definitely, I think, the best player in the world. So I have her coming through in 2 sets over Rybakina. Very, very, fearsome competitor. Great run by Rybakina. Has a lot of great tools on grass, but Halep is the grass master, and I think she's going to show that.
Okay, well, I don't mind taking +4. I think there is a way we can actually probably thread that needle because I think this is going to come down to tie breaks, and in general, the experience and the pedigree that Halep brings should help her carry through to tiebreak wins here. But Rybakina's serve has just been outstanding. She is leading the women's field right now in aces on serve, and realistically, Halep, while she is one of the best, if not the best, returner in the women's game, she has not gone up against someone who is bringing this much heat on serve. And so I think in general, Rybakina can hold and give us a little bit of an entertaining match. Speaking of matches that I do not believe will be entertaining, Novak Djokovic takes on Cam Norrie. And Cam Norrie, wonderful story. Congratulations to the Brit getting to his first ever Slam semifinal. But boy, oh boy, is he outclassed. He's taking on Novak Djokovic, who has won no fewer than 6 Wimbledon titles and has not lost a match on grass going back to 2018. He lost the Queen's final to Marin Cilic in a third set tiebreak. So 26 match winning streak on the line for Novak Djokovic here. And Cam Norrie, while getting to this point, had to exhaust almost all of his resources, having come through in 5 against David Goffin. Do you think Cam Norrie can continue to rely on his endurance as a means of getting anything going against Djokovic, or is this one-way traffic the way you see things?
Well, but before we get into how the play styles maybe don't work out for Cam Norrie, I have to ask you, would you make Novak Djokovic minus 1,500 against the number 12 player in the world at Wimbledon, at center court Wimbledon, with the home crowd going for the number 12 player in the world? Would you do that? I would not.
It's a big number. My fare is around minus 1,200 here. Minus 1,500 is a big number. Even looking at the straight sets prop here, Djokovic 3-0 is minus 160. That's aggressive. However, the idea that Cam Norrie may be a little, just happy to be here, I don't think can be dismissed. And he was somewhat lucky to be here. Would you disagree with that?
I do disagree with that. I think he was much better than David Goffin. I think that he was incredibly nervous for really the first and third sets because he was the favorite, right? And we've seen the British players here at Wimbledon, they never do well because unlike in America, this is like a really big deal in England. I don't think we have anything that really compares, especially not in tennis, right? I mean, maybe like the Super Bowl, but for whatever reason, these British players, they tense up here. They know the pressure that's on them. And Cam Norrie was a considerable favorite against David Goffin. He was expected to win that match, and he looked like he was expected to win that match early because, he was shaking in his boots, and he really had to dig deep there to find that level. I think that shaky performance, coupled with an ATP Finals loss to Djokovic at the end of last year, and if you remember very correctly, and the viewers out there, that was the worst version of Cam Norrie that we've seen in 2.5 years. He was terrible at the end of last season. After winning Indian Wells, he was completely out of gas. He played awful tennis. Frankly, it carried over to the first few weeks of the season this year. So I don't read much into that. I don't read much into the Goffin match because, like I said, he just missed balls we're not used to him missing. And I think that if those two matches gone a little bit differently, maybe a little more competitive in the Djokovic match, maybe a little less competitive in his last round, I don't think we see minus 1,500. I think there's a very good way to play this match. It's Cam Norrie to win a set, plus 135. That is an absolutely ridiculous number. It's a misprice. Sinner was minus 110 to win a set. I know that the play styles are different. Sinner can hit through Djokovic. Norrie can't really do that. But when Norrie is on his game, he is painting lines. Diego Schwartzman's a good example. I think he beat him 1-2 or something like that. It felt like it anyway last year outdoors because Schwartzman is the same style of play as Djokovic. He just gets everything back. If you can hit through him, great, but he's not going to make many mistakes. Norrie just hit lines. It wasn't like Diego did anything wrong. I'm not saying Diego Schwartzman and Novak Djokovic are on the same level, especially on grass, but I am saying I think this could be a lot closer than the line is indicating. And I think Cam Norrie here in front of the home crowd, you can take a set off Matteo Berrettini on grass in England. You can do it against Novak Djokovic. I think Djokovic might overlook Norrie considering the way that their last match went. I think that Norrie can take a set here. So that's my bet play.
Oof, man. There's definitely some thought that what Djokovic was able to bring to the table down 2-0 against Jannik Sinner, that level, and they felt like it awoke the sleeping giant, so to speak. And he could clearly carry that through here. And this could be a pretty lopsided match the way I grade things. I definitely have that World Tour Finals 6-1, 6-2 in the back of my head. That was even 6-1, 6-2 is doing Norrie a favor.
Norrie was a replacement in that tournament. He wasn't even thrown to play. I think it's very unfair to criticize him for that performance because he was not only, he basically was checked out of the season. He was like, my season's over. Oh, I got to play Novak
Djokovic. that is completely fair. That's completely fair. Either way, I think the other of the two men's semifinals is the one that most people will have eyes for. And I guess what is the probability that we actually see this happen? We have Rafa Nadal, who comes through, limps through his quarterfinal 3-2 against Taylor Fritz. Fritz, in general, I think bottled a lot of key points in that match to the tune of giving Rafa life to even get to this point. But the injuries that Rafa sustained, not just in the run-up, but in that match in particular, looked somewhat serious to me.
Nah, it's all charade. Come on, don't buy it, dude. He's gonna play. He's
So you
gonna
think
play.
you
He's
think
gonna
you
be
go okay.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
look,
he takes on the mercurial Nick Kyrgios. Right now, the market is kind of settling in at around a pick'em. The sharper books hanging minus 120-ish for Kyrgios compared to about plus 100 on the comeback for Nadal. Do you think that this is the way that this goes down? Kyrgios goes off as a small favorite, or are we going to see more Kyrgios money between now and the match starting?
I think we're going to see more Kyrgios money. I will also spoil it for everyone that Drew and I are in complete agreement here on Nick Kyrgios. We have both bet on Nick Kyrgios already. And I think that, frankly, this is a great. Obviously, we have Nick Kyrgios could fire another ball at not Nadal's abdomen and re-injure it or whatever. But I just don't think it's as big of a deal as missing a Grand Slam semifinal, going for a calendar Grand Slam. He's not going to miss this match. There's no way. Maybe he retires during the match. I don't know. But for whatever reason, it looked like he was absolutely fine until he started falling behind against Fritz. Then always starts scrapping the abdomen. And then he's pumping 115-mile-an-hour serves nothing's wrong. So I don't really know what to believe here. I don't think he's going to keep him out of this match. I think that was all just that was all a poker face after the game to say, your match, maybe I won't play in the semifinal. I think the matchup wise, Kyrgios is one of those guys that has the ability to beat Nadal mentally, because he's done it before. He's done it 3 times. He did it in Acapulco in an epic match. He did it here at Wimbledon in his debut at Wimbledon. I think he can do it again. He's a top 3 player in the world on grass. We keep saying it. He's a better player than Nadal on grass. It's crazy to hear because he's not nearly at the level of Nadal, right, on other surfaces. But on grass, with his serve, the ability to just hit his forehand very deep into the court, topspin forehand, I think it's going to pose a lot of issues for Nadal. He's not going to want to dig down and hit some of these slices. He's not going to want to chase down some of these drop shots. Kyrgios has been expertly even mixing in. I could wax poetic about how he's played on the grass over the last 2 months, or a month rather, but I think that this is a mismatch given the fact that Nadal probably not at 100%. But I'm not willing to say he's not going to play. He's going to play, Drew. He's going to play this match. He wants to beat Nick Kyrgios for many reasons, let alone never mind the fact he's going for a calendar Grand Slam.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I like Kyrgios at a money line price. Anything better than minus 120, I think you're getting a decent edge on. And I think realistically, it's crazy that we even say this, but the most common, the biggest rival for Nick Kyrgios on tour, he has had 9 head-to-heads throughout his career against Rafa Nadal. So this is it for him, and he should understand the game well enough, and he should be able to bring his advantages on grass in particular that Kenny pointed out to get it across the line. Punch your ticket to the final, young man, and let's get a Novak Djokovic versus Kyrgios final. That's what we want as tennis fans, frankly.
We do, and we should remind the viewers that Novak Djokovic in 2 matches has never won a set off Nick Kyrgios.
That's right. So tennis gods are with us. We get a Simona Halep, Ons Jabeur equally matched women's final, and we get a Djokovic Kyrgios. Best chance for someone to defeat the king of grass in the men's final on Sunday. Kenny, best of luck for the rest of this tournament, and of course you can find our plays at NBC Sports EDGE as we break down the remaining tennis calendar. We'll be back for all of the hard court swing through the U.S. leading up to the U.S. Open, so be sure to check us out there.